Hello, whistleblowers everywhere. Today I'm going to talk about learning tunes by ear. Now, learning tunes by ear I think is a really important skill to try and develop. Equally as important as learning to read music, perhaps even more so. Lots of tunes can be learned by ear, and there are many, many exceptionally good musicians who actually don't read music but will learn a tune by ear. And it's like everything else, the more you do it, the better at it you get. But there are some simple ideas to follow, and there are certain things, characteristics, which will help when you're trying to learn a piece of music by ear. So today's piece of music, I'm not going to supply the actual written notation because this is a tune which I want you to have a go at learning by ear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it through first, and then I'm going to tell you some of the techniques that I use, things that I watch out for when I'm trying to learn a piece of music by ear. I learn tunes various different ways. Some of them I learn by ear, some of them I'll learn by reading the basic piece and then looking at how I will make it my own. Also listening to many different versions of the tune which I'm trying to learn. Find one that I like and then go ahead and add my own take on it in terms of ornamentation and variation. But learning to play by ear I think is a really, really essential skill. And the way we're going to start is by always starting with something which is simple and something which you can help to memorize a simple tune rather than something which is too complex. So start off simple. My advice, always start off simple and learn the basic tune first before you even try and put any ornamentation in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this tune called Jer the Rigger. It's a polka. I'm going to play it really quite slowly and so you can hear what's going on. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the devices that I use to help me to get a tune into my head and to learn it by ear. It's no great mystical kind of process, it's just practice. And again, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So let me play you this tune, Jer the Rigger, and then I will show you some of the things that I do, things that I look out for to help me to learn this piece by, or learn any piece by ear. So here's this polka called Jer the Rigger. I'll play it through fairly slowly, and each part is repeated twice. So it's A and B, and each part is repeated. So here we go. So that's how the tune goes. It's not a very complicated tune, which is good because we want to start off easy. So if we have a look at the first A part, we have repeating patterns, and that is one of the things to look out for. And you'll find that that first bar is repeated quite a lot. So that E to A. and it's repeated again in the second half of the A part. And then the second bar is also repeated. So we've got a 2-bar phrase which we can look out for. So we've got and that is repeated again at the beginning of the second half of the A part. So again, if we look at that first bit slowly, so what you want to try and do is get that first bit, that because that's repeated again, as I said, in the second half of the A part. And so what I want you to try and do is to try and play and then try and either sing it or hear the tune in your head, just the first 2 bars. So I'm going to play it and then I'm going to try and either sing it back or hear it in my head, just the first. So bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum. Yeah, now again, we'll do it again. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum. Okay, so the next bit. So we've got quite a lot of scale movement going on. So we're going. So that's a scale going up from D, 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 C sharp, D, E, F, G. So watch out for those moving patterns, for those scale patterns, because they will be repeated several times. So let's have a look at that again. Dum ba da 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 dum. Okay, so we've got the first line. So bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum. Bum ba da 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 ba 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 bum. So now we've got our first line. Let's play it again. So, a couple of things to look out for: repeating patterns, as we said, and also practice that echoing back just off 1 or 2 bars. And once you've got the line, then you can echo it back. That really helps, being able to play it and then just sing it. And eventually, what you want to be able to do is just to be able to sing it and get that line into your head. So, bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum bum ba da 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 dum. So that's the first part of the A part. So the second part starts with that same phrase. So we've got a repeated pattern. So we already know that. We're just taking that first 2 bars and putting that and repeating that pattern again. So now we've got the last part of the A part. So we've got, again, repeating rhythm. Notes are different, but we're going dum ba ba bum ba bum. Bum ba ba bum ba bum. And then the last bit. Ba 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 bum, bum. So let's have a look at that second half of the A part. So starting with the repeated pattern. Bum, 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 ba da 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 dum, bum. So second half. Bum, ba ba bum, ba 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 bum. So we've got the whole of the A part. Well, let's see if you can remember how it starts. So see if you can remember that first pattern. And then the second pattern, remember that scale passage? So let's put that together again. Then see if you can sing it straight back to yourself. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum ba da 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 da. Again. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum ba da 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 dum. Because if you can sing it to yourself, you can also play it. It's just a matter of converting what you can hear in your head to what goes on with the fingers on the whistle. So let's have a look at that second half now. So again, we're repeating that pattern. Bum 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 ba da 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 bum 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 ba da dum ba da 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 dum. So when you're doing this, trying to learn by ear, think about, as we said, the repeating patterns. Think about how the notes move, whether they move up or down, and also try and imagine the shape. Imagine the shape of how it moves. Is it going up and then coming down smoothly, or is it moving in step like this last part of Jer the Rigger and the A part? It's not moving smoothly up and down, it's moving in step. So just imagine dum bum 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 bum. Use your imagination. It really does help, even if you've got a visual. Now you can either use your imagination to imagine what the notes are doing, or just imagine a shape, or you can even just imagine colours, whatever works for you, to try and help to get that sort of picture, those steps, and transfer it from sort of whatever visual into what you're hearing. I like to use from time to time the imaginary process of imagining those peaks and troughs, or if it's a smooth movement up, or if it's a smooth movement down. And again, repeating patterns. Listen out for those repeating patterns, because most tunes will have them in one place or another. So let's play the whole of the A part now. And so once you've got the first and second part, play the whole part and then see if you can sing the whole part back to yourself. Yeah. So here we go. Bum 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 ba 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 bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba da 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 bum ba 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 bum ba 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 bum, and then we'll repeat that. So again, don't try and do too much in one go. Even if you're just doing 1 or 2 bars, like we did at the beginning, where we just played the first 2 bars. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum. Bum ba da 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 dum. Bum 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 ba da 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 bum. Bum ba ba bum ba 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 bum bum. And again, I would just spend your time getting familiar just with the first part. And I wouldn't proceed to try and do the whole tune until you've just got the first A part. So again, yeah, just practice going over each little separate bit. Listen to the sound. Try and get the little snippets of tune in your head. Yeah, don't, if you can't get the whole tune in your head, that's fine. Even if you just get the first phrase and then build it up gradually. You don't have to do it all in one go. Right, so should we have a look at the second half now? So again, like the A part, the B part has got repeating patterns. So we've got this. So the first one, we can hear bum bum ba da bum bum. So it goes down and then comes back up. And then the second bar is different because it goes down and keeps going down. So the first bar, it goes down and comes up. The second bar, it goes down and it goes even further down. So, like we did with the first part, we're going to play the two bars and then sing them back. Bum bum ba 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 bum bum ba da da bum. Again. Bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da da dum. Okay, so let's have a look at the next bit. So again, we've got that repeating pattern. So the whole of that line. So that second bit, there's a lot of movement. But we're going down and up using that scale, so try and remember that. We've got a sequence of notes which follow the scale. And then the last bit. Again, we've got a scale pattern. A, G, F, G, E. So let's do two bars and then sing back. Bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da da dum. Bum ba da 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 dum. So if you remember back to the A part, we've got the same repeating pattern. So if we look at the A part, the first line, and the B part, we've got the same repeating pattern. The first two bars are different, but we've got that repeating. That same repeating pattern that happens in the first A part is repeated in the B part. So you already know that. It's just a matter of remembering it and then slotting it in. So you'll be pleased to know that the second half again is full of repeated patterns. So we've got this. And those patterns are repeated again. at the end of the second half. So and then another repeated pattern. We've got the same ending to the A part on the B part. So let's put that together. We'll do 2 bars and then sing it back and see if you can remember those repeated patterns, because it's really helpful when you're learning a piece by ear to look for those repeated patterns, and because oftentimes there's only slight differences within the patterns. So bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da da dum. Bum ba da 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 dum. Bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da da bum. And then that repeated pattern. Bum ba da dum ba da 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 dum. So we'll play the first line and then sing the whole of that line back. Bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da 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 bum ba da 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 dum. Bum bum ba da 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 bum bum ba da 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 dum ba da dum ba da 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 dum. So again, when you're trying to learn something, it's always good to try and learn it slowly. Oftentimes, if you're trying to learn a tune by ear and you're hearing someone play it, you don't always have the luxury of being able to hear it slowed down. So there's lots of software you can use. You can use slow down software. There's lots of stuff out there. Just do a Google search. And again, on YouTube, I think there's a slow down function on YouTube itself. So yes, it does help to be able to hear what's going on slowly. Eventually you'll be able to hear a tune played at full tilt and just be able to get the similarities, because in traditional music there's lots of similarities in tunes. Some tunes sound very, very similar, or you'll find the repeating patterns in one tune will come again in another tune, and even though it's similar, it's slightly different in some ways. Sometimes you'll find tunes which are very similar throughout, in which case you've got to be really careful not to start in one tune and end up going into another tune, which can happen occasionally from time to time. So let's have a go now at playing the tune all the way through. So I'm going to play it through very slowly to start with, and when I'm playing through, I want you to try and follow in your head and try and see if you can hum the tune whilst I'm playing it. Yeah, and then go back and see if you can do it again, but without me playing it. So you can try and learn the tune. The important thing is to get the tune into your head. Once it's in your head, then you can get it to fall under your fingers. So here we go. So that's Jay the Rigger. Just to recap on some of the things that you want to be able to be looking for and listening for. That's really important. So shapes. Listen out for the shapes. Listen out for the little scale patterns that you can identify. And try and get the overall shape of that particular run. Is it going sequentially up? Is it going up and down? Is it going by steps? Or is it going more randomly than that? So you usually find that there's lots of what I call scalic passages, so bits of scales. It might be going down then up, and then up then down, or it might be going consistently up or consistently down. And again, that's something to listen out for. So listen for the shape, yeah, get an idea. And it helps if you can visualize the shape as you're listening to it, yeah. I always think that being able to visualize things is helpful as well as hearing them. It helps me anyway, and I can only talk about my own experience of learning tunes by ear. Is I get a sense of the shape, or I can hear it, or I can see the shape of the music as I'm trying to learn it. So if I'm learning a tune, if I'm hearing it, say, at a session, and it's a tune that I don't know, usually what I'll do is I'll have a listen to the shape of it, listen to bits that I can identify, and then cling to those bits, and then try and build up from those bits which I can identify, and the bits which I think, oh, I'm not sure about that bit. So I'll listen to the tune for a few times, and then maybe the third time I'll be able to jump in and play bits of the tune. Very quietly, of course, yeah, on a very, very quiet whistle, because you don't want to be disrupting the session by half-assing the tune that they're trying to play. So yeah, you've got to be careful. But yes, to bring a quiet whistle with you, or even just sort of sit and listen, get the idea of the shape, get the idea of those repeating patterns, listen out for those repeating patterns. You'll find that most tunes, if not all tunes, will have those repeated patterns. They may be long patterns, they may be short patterns, but listen for the repeats. So get the shape of the tune, look out for scalic passages. If you need to use some kind of visualization, then if you find that helpful as I do, then feel free to do that. I even know some people who use colours for different sort of tones. So if you find that works for you, then give it a go. You know, it's all trial and error really, until you find something that works for you. But the most important thing is practice this. Practice doing it consistently. Same as any other skill, it takes time to develop. So practice consistently, and also don't try and start on something too complicated. Start simple, break it down, and just work on maybe one or two bars, or the first phrase or the second phrase. And even if you don't get the whole tune in your sitting to try and do that, even if you don't get the whole tune, that's fine. Just get part of the tune. But the idea is you want to try and get the tune into your head. So the idea of humming it after you've played it, I find that's really helpful, because then it tends to stick. I can think da 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 dum bum bum ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum. There's that repeating pattern again. Bum ba da dum ba da 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 dum. Yeah. So all these kind of devices I find really useful in terms of learning by ear. Give it a go. Try this tune out and see how you do. And most importantly, don't be too down on yourself if you struggle. It's a new skill which you're trying to develop, and it's like anything else. If you've never done it before, if you've only done it a little bit, you're going to struggle with it. It's the idea of learning a tune. You're learning a melody. And the melody is just really something that you need to try and get into your head. And if you can bypass the paper route, then that's one step less that you have to worry about. So yes, I'm a great believer in developing your ear and developing this skill. And there's lots of exercises you can do in terms of developing what's called the oral training or oral skills. And there's lots of exercises, there's lots of resources, and it's a great skill to develop your ear. it's an essential skill really to develop your ear, because you want to be able to play things in a natural flowing way. You don't want to be having to take music along with you, or or be bound to the sheet music, or even worse still, be bound to the tab. That's no good. We don't want that. What we do want is to get the tune into your head, and then you can really start to have fun, add some variation. Yeah. So I'm going to play Jeer the Rigger for you as I play it with all the twiddly bits. And again, just have a listen. So there you have it, Jeer the Rigger. Try it out, see how you get on, and again, take your time, no rush. So I hope you've enjoyed this, hope you found it useful, and that's some of the techniques that I use to help to learn a tune by ear. If you have found it useful, then if you could please subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the Whistleblowers YouTube channel, give me a like, and if you've got any comments at all, then I would love to hear from you. Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your experiences of learning from by ear, and if you've got any other additional tips that you use. It's always good to hear other people's ideas and how they learn things by ear. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions or any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so I will see you all shortly for the next YouTube breakdown, whatever it turns out to be. Yeah, so you all take care, and I shall see you shortly. Bye for now, folks.